All right. Oh, man. I'm going to have to take down all those posts. Shit. Boy, oh boy, this stuff is, I don't know what happened. OBS just completely crashed, which I've never seen it do. All right. Give me just a second. Gotta work out the bugs. I don't know why. So I was messing around with it earlier. I figured out how to like display the chat, and it did fine earlier. I don't know why all of a sudden OBS just was like, yeah, you know what? We're just not gonna let it work. All right. Anyways, that's gonna screw shit up, but it is what it is. That's really unfortunate. All right. Well, I'm gonna check everywhere where I shared that link. I'm gonna have to take them down really fast. I was trying to just get YouTube back up and running. I don't know if OBS just lost communication with YouTube or what. But do me a favor, don't share that link. Let me get this straightened out here and we'll get right into it. I appreciate those of you who did like and share that link, but okay. I'm going to try and get some more shares out here in just a second. You guys, this is just part of it, man. Right here. This is part of it. Let me reshare. Let's try that again. Yeah, see, now it has a different... So weird. Okay. I apologize for anybody coming in afterwards. You're probably confused, like what's going on. We had a I don't know what happened. OBS just completely crashed. That's never happened no, I take that back. It has happened, but it's been a while. It's been a long while. So that's kind of what we're doing here. We're kind of going through this together here. Trying to get all these erased. There's so many links. Yeah, and it's sharing the wrong thumbnail too. Golly. What a shit show. Why is it doing that? It completely reset. It's also got the title. So it erased everything. Oh, wow. Son of a bitch. Okay. Sorry. This is worse than I thought. Hang on. Arkansas. I got to redo. Arkansas versus Florida. Can Arkansas get... I'm having to retype the title. Can Arkansas get its shit together? I promise we're going to get into it. I thought this was all fine, and then when I set the stream back up, it completely wiped everything that I had. Oh man, even my tags. Golly, y'all, this is for anyone who's ever been a content creator. You're probably like, I get it. This is a pain in the ass. It is a huge pain in the ass. All right, we're just gonna have to make do with what we have. Here I go again. On my own. All right, I don't care. I'll have to fix it later. Don't know how many people are going to be in this now. This is all kind of messed up. See, man, you try to do something different. You add more stuff to the show, and then YouTube's like, actually, the joke's on you. We're not going to let you experiment and do anything with your channel. I just shared this 9 times. I hope you shared this stream. Bill O'Reilly. We'll do it live. That's right. Okay. Well, I'm going to have to, for those of you, again, I apologize who are coming in after the fact. This was, I don't know what happened. OBS wiped. YouTube wiped. Everything I had. I'm surprised it didn't wipe my stream key. Like, this is wild. It's almost like, I don't know. I've never seen it do that before. It completely wiped everything on my stream. So we're just going to get into it. We should have Super Chat. Super Chat has a new function. I don't know if it's working. I'm almost afraid for anybody to send a Super Chat, but I have a program that's backing this up. If you put a Super Chat, it should show on the screen now. This is something you guys have asked me about. And I finally found something to make that work. I hope it doesn't throw us through another tornado. I don't even know if – I guess I could turn it off here on OBS. But anyways, all right, we're going to talk. First off, I want to get started on talk a little bit about, Razorback basketball for just a second, and then we'll segue into Arkansas and Florida. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm really pissed off right now. I'm so mad. What a bummer. I was really looking forward to some of this stuff. Let's see if this will work. Hold on. We do have this. If you pay attention to the bottom of the screen, this should not. There you go. Look at that. We got the legendary status, so we got that going. Legendary status members are at the bottom. That's the Tuss Talk with Ty Patreon. $20 and up legendary status members, so shout out to them. Again, Patreon hasn't sent anything through yet, so I haven't updated that list. Shout out to Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company, and they're located in Central Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas. They offer same-day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes, better than best results. Give them a call today, and their link is provided for you down below in the description box. Also, the Odd Soul Craft Bar and Pizzeria. Yeah, Odd Soul Craft Bar and Pizzeria. Fantastic pies, IPAs on tap. Great staff, great environment. If you guys are coming into town, you got a couple games left in Fayetteville for football. Maybe you guys are going to be in town for Alcorn State or any of the other basketball games that are starting off here in Bud Walton Arena. If you're in town or you just want to go out and eat, the Odd Soul's got you covered, man, on Emma Street in South Springdale. I'm sorry, I'm trying to double check everything here. I don't want to be okay. All right, there's a super chat. Did it go through? Did the alert happen? Did anything happen on screen? Are you kidding me? Now that's not going to work? It was working earlier. Son of a bitch. I'm telling you, man, I don't know what happened. It's almost like I got hacked. Like everything just wiped. Did anything happen? You didn't see anything? Great. Okay, cool. All right. All right. So I had I had an interview, a Patreon interview yesterday with Blake Lovell from Southeastern 14. It's available for Patreon supporters, only Patreon supporters. For now, I'm getting hot. Like I'm gonna have to turn on the mini split. I'm getting hot. I'm getting so angry. You guys might find I might take my shirt off. I'm just kidding. I won't do that to you. I'm turning it on. Turn on the AC, man. I'm getting hot. It was a really good conversation. I uploaded a little short 2-minute piece from our conversation yesterday. Blake Lovell's obviously pretty high on the Razorbacks. He tells you why. He goes into quite a few specifics. Yeah. So I thought Blake made some interesting points. He really did. He talked about just the depth. He's really high on Tremont Mark. He's really big on Mark. And a couple other guys, of course, who's not big on Trevon Brazile. Arkansas opens up things. Regular season starts Monday, November 6th, man. It is here. November 6th, 7 p.m. If I can get some things straightened out, if I can get some things fixed here, I may be doing an Arkansas-Florida watch party here. So it won't be Travis or Tim. I haven't told them about it yet. So they're probably going to listen to this and go, oh, man. But I know they're busy. They got stuff going on. I'm going to do one. I'm thinking about doing one in here for both Alcorn State and Florida. So we'll watch the game together and we'll react together. You know how it goes. You sync up your TV, your stream with me, and we can watch the game. Now, again, I got to fix what the hell just happened to OBS and YouTube. I mean, again, I don't know what happened. I swear to God, it's like something just wiped all my settings, all my tags. Not all my tags. It looks like my tags are still there. I mean, they filled out. I don't know. But if I can get all this sorted out and fixed, I may be doing that. So make sure you've got the notification bell. And, of course, you got to be subscribed. So we might just react to that together. So, yeah. Going to be a interesting weekend. It's going to be an interesting week. Alcorn State, not someone you should sleep on. I'll say that much. Ty's daddy, though. I do like that. That's great. 33-11 Hogs eating gator steaks for lunch tomorrow. Boy, I don't know, Kelly. 33-11? You think they're going to walk in there and just open up a can of whoop ass? Nobody has scored more than 16 points in Gainesville, and that includes Tennessee. Nobody has scored more than 16 points. I picked the Hogs to lose a one-score game. Okay. I watched KG's QB highlights today. Impressive. I think he steps up and nails his opportunity to right the Hog ship tomorrow. You know what? I don't know. Hang on just a second here. Yeah. The poll is up. No, it's not. It's not up because we're on a different stream. Hold on. We got to get that poll up, fellas. Ladies or lady and gentlemen. Let's see here. What was it again? Does Arkansas's offense? Yeah, they put up 300 yards. Does Arkansas do the Hogs how the hell have at least 300 yards of offense tomorrow? Now, we found out last week you can actually customize these polls. I'll be honest with you. I've only ever done a few. Does Arkansas have at least 300 yards of offense tomorrow? There you go. We're going to add yes, no, and then laugh out loud, no. So there you go. All right, like, share, subscribe. We're getting this thing back on track. I see some of you starting to pile back in. One more time, and I'll probably say one more time. I'll probably do it at the end of the stream. I do want to apologize. This is, if you're just joining us, if you're just coming back in, I don't know if YouTube glitched. I don't know if OBS just decided, you know what? I'm going to screw up everything for you, Ty, and just wiped. I don't know what the hell happened. But, yeah, I do apologize about that. And shout out to you guys who of course, Hawes and Austin, who share a lot. I want to see if I can fix that. So what I have, what's supposed to pop up is an alert box, and I don't know why it didn't. Let's see if we can figure this out here really fast. Okay. Submit. Copy. It's, again, we're kind of doing this together a little bit. Okay. We're going to save it. All right, there we go. Let's see what happens when I emulate it. Hang on. So you guys watch your screen here. Did you guys see it? There it is. There it is. I don't know if you guys could see it. Tell me if you saw it. It should pop up super chat. So anytime we have a super chat, it should just pop right up. Isn't that cool? All right. I don't know if it's going to work or not. I was testing it earlier and it was working fine. And OBS was like, nah, I'm good. Man, oh man, it's going to be a fun. I'm so excited. Nothing could piss me off, man. Nothing. I'm over it. I'm already over it. That's working. Okay, we're good. I'm so excited for basketball. It's here, man. Monday. Oh, my favorite thing is we had football last night. By the way, did you guys see Treylon Burks got banged up? I don't know if you guys saw that or not. Treylon Burks hurt We had an update, I think, earlier today. It sounds like he was up moving around. I think he was up moving around last night, but they carted Treylon Burks off the field. And I don't mean to sound insensitive, but Treylon Burks has got to be the most injury-prone pro hog I have ever seen. I mean, he's had 3 different injuries. You know, in his very short time as a pro, he got drafted. It's so similar to Darren McFadden's situation when he got drafted by the Raiders. You know, when he went to Oakland, and it was a nightmare. You know, and I know he was injured. He had one decent season. He finally gets traded somewhere, or he ends up somewhere with a better offensive line. He puts together one really decent season. You know, and then that was pretty much the end of his career. You know, it's just a very similar situation. Like Treylon Burks goes to the Titans. Like, they've got quarterback issues. They've got health issues. I mean, I've read somewhere where they were talking about putting a good portion of their offense on the trade block, like guys off their offense. And there's a belief that maybe Burks could be someone who winds up getting traded off. He should. They should trade him off. Trade him. Send him to Kansas City. You know, I don't understand it. Ty, do a poll if you have any more technical difficulties or not. I probably will. Again, that was bizarre. And it's weird, too, because it happens in real time. So you guys are kind of seeing on my end a little bit, like, how frustrating it is. And, you know, and then you're trying to fix it while also trying to make sure we get people back in here. I mean, I'm looking at my numbers right now. We lost a good portion of the audience. Not a lot of them are going to come back until later, maybe till, you know, they think I've got it figured out. And then they'll come back and they'll watch. I feel bad for those people who were here. And then we had all these issues and they said, forget it. Maybe they had a question or a comment they wanted me to read. Let's see. Titans have killed a lot of wide receiver careers. Well, other than one guy, but yeah. Love the show. Gotta have some fun. That's right, Todd. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. You guys, again, make sure you like, share, subscribe. The Super Chat animation should pop up if you guys send a Super Chat. Here's what's funny. I actually had my original Super Chat image was Matt Jones. But I thought about it and I was like, well, I don't know. I'm just going to throw the Super Chat up. So that's up and working. Only part of tech you can count on is it breaking. That's the app. That is 100% correct. And you guys get to experience it with me. Getting back to basketball really quick. I'm going to wait to do my prediction for the season until Monday. And so the game's going to be at 7. I'm going to have my Monday show. I plan on it being it might be a morning show. We might have to do an 11 a.m. because the media should have access to practice next week. We should have access to practice. We should have access to hopefully, you know, they're going to have the players. Of course, I won't be there for I never really go to the Zoom calls with the players, but so we got the game at 7. We got practice. I want to say it's going to be probably at 5 is when they're going to let the media in. So I'm probably going to end up having to do an 11 a.m. Monday show. So just a heads up, somewhere between 11 and noon, I'm probably going to be live. That's when I plan on going live. And then Monday we'll do the we'll do the reaction, of course, we call it the Monday after show, but it's more like the once we've kind of calmed down a little bit show and we've taken another look and we're looking at PFF numbers and we're kind of, you know, we're probably overanalyzing a lot of things. But listen, I know too a good portion of you are over the football season. You really don't care what happens tomorrow. I've already seen some people in our Discord like, don't care, it's basketball season. Don't care. Basketball's my favorite sport. I've moved on. Okay, that's fine. That's fine for you guys. I'm happy for you. It is hard to watch. There have been days where I kind of share that sentiment. There have been days this season, well, I mean, Mississippi State is a really prime example. I didn't want to finish that game. And I get just being like, it's basketball season, to hell with this. But, as a Razorback, as someone who has followed the Hogs for as long as I have sat through some miserable seasons and watched every game. As long as I had access, I watched every game. And I'm not saying that makes me a better fan or anything like that. Those of you who've been around long enough, I'm not that kind of guy. I'm just saying I've always been interested, even when the shit hits the fan like it has for football. I'm still interested to see if they can get it turned around. I'm still I'm curious, right? My interest is still piqued because I especially with this situation, right? With Kenny Guyton now calling the plays, with maybe is there a possibility that maybe, just maybe, Kenny Guyton can dial the right buttons for KJ, and KJ, he's a little bit more excited, he's maybe a little bit more bought in than he was with Enos. That's all stuff to consider. That's what I'm interested in. And obviously, that's why the poll is, does Arkansas have at least 300 yards of offense tomorrow? Florida, again, teams don't walk in there. I mean, you think back last year, and I know last year was last year, but it says something about what's going on at Florida, what has happened. They're not undefeated in Gainesville. I don't want you guys to think I'm saying that, but they did beat a ranked Utah team last year. I think it was a home opener. And Utah was, I think they were a top 10 team or a top 15 team last year. This year it went the other way. Florida went to Utah and lost, but Utah's a pretty solid team. That's a pretty damn good team. And I said even then, after that game, when everyone was kind of laughing at Florida, I said, y'all might want to pump your brakes. This looks like an 8-4, 7-5 kind of team. They're at least better than we thought they were, right? And I think they are. I mean, they beat Tennessee at home. If you would have told me that at the beginning of the year, I don't care. Like Tennessee, I know there's that history there and everything. I get it. I was kind of drinking the Tennessee Kool-Aid a little bit. I got to stay away from the Kool-Aid. I thought they would go down to Gainesville and do something pretty incredible, and they didn't, and that to me was kind of like that showed me there that this is not the Florida team we all thought they were. Not that Tennessee's a great team. They're looking at 8-4, 9-3 on the year. This is not a great Tennessee Vol football team. But again, Florida is better than we all thought they were. Coming into the year, yeah, I did think Florida was going to be in trouble. I thought they would probably be looking at 6-6. But after watching them play and the way they played against Utah, I walked away a little bit impressed. Florida's defense they just looked really well coached. They looked really well coached. I thought their defense would carry them, and I think they have throughout most of the season. You can say the same thing about Utah. Utah's not exactly an offensive juggernaut, but it's still like what I watched, because that was a game I watched from start to finish. I walked away with that like, no, okay, they're better than I thought. They're not 6-6. They're probably like an 8-4, 7-5, and I think that's what they are. Hey, Ty, give us your final score. Yeah, Tim, that comes at the end, man. You know that. Let's see. Is it so? I tried and skipped LSU game, but came back the next week. Woo Pig Suey, no pain. Odds are Arkansas has half a stadium with fans visiting. I'd rather be in Florida than be cold all year. Most of it. I don't know. Addison, what are you talking about? I really don't know what to expect football-wise tomorrow, especially on offense, ? Yeah, I don't either. Arkansas is better than you think, says there was no timetable on Rocket coming back, but now he's participating, or now he's practicing again with Guyton in charge. Maybe Enos wasn't that popular with some of the players. I don't know what to make of that. He practiced when Enos was here for a little while, and then he disappeared. He disappeared for a couple of weeks. If Arkansas loses this game, which I think a lot of you believe they will, if Arkansas loses this game, and even if it's close, it's going to be tough. I mean, there's going to be big gaps in the stadium for sure. There's going to be big gaps, man. It's going to be tough. Same scrubs on the O-line, though. Yeah, we can't forget about the offensive line. They're in some trouble. They're in some trouble, man. If it is all about scheming, and if simplifying it and going with a faster tempo is the answer, that really makes you mad about the Enos hire. Like, I mean, if this offense finds any kind of rhythm, I mean, it's obviously got to be a good 4 quarters. It can't just be like, oh, well, they were really good on offense for a quarter and then be happy with that. We could make jokes about it because I will in the post game. Like, oh, look, they really were fired up in the second quarter and then disappeared for the other 3. Can't be that, One last thing, and we'll close up basketball here. I know that's where we really want to go here, but Alcorn State, again, if I can get some stuff figured out, if OBS doesn't act up, I may be streaming not just Alcorn State. I might be streaming more games, just obviously not the games. Let me rephrase that. We'll be doing watch parties where we sync up the game, right? You stay caught up with me, and instead of listening to those guys on the television, we watch and we chat and all that. Like, it was a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun doing those. I'd considered doing those a couple of years ago and decided against it because I don't want that to become like an every game expectation. And not only that, I wasn't so sure how that would work just in terms of what it is as content, like I don't know how. I wasn't so sure, and then we kind of broke the ice doing that with Don't Read the Comments podcast, doing that in their studio with Tim and Travis, and I'm really digging like how that's going. So we may do it for Florida, and we may do it for Alcorn State. We may do it for just one of those 2. We may not do either. Just kind of depends on how all this goes. So Arkansas, Alcorn State, again on Monday. This is if I could pull up the damn – hang on. It's not OBS or YouTube this time. Now it's just me trying to navigate Alcorn State. So Alcorn State last year, just giving you guys a quick heads up, they weren't terrible. I mean, they lost like 4 games from the beginning of January all the way up until March 8th. Now you can ask, like, who did they beat? It was worth a flip. They lost to Ole Miss last year on the road, 73-58. They lost to UTEP, Corpus Christi. Tennessee beat the shit out of them last year, 94-40. But then they go on and their season comes to an end. Well, they did go to the NITs, and they lost in the first round in North Texas. But I still, like, there's nothing about this team. Like, I don't think they had but maybe 1 decent win all year last year, maybe 2. So just kind of a heads up on that. I don't know, Monday. It's hard to talk it's going to be mostly a reaction probably to Florida than it is about this game because I think some people, there's a couple people out there that believe Alcorn State's going to give Arkansas a game. I mean, maybe, but I feel like Arkansas should be fine. But they finished first in the SWAC last year, and I think they're picked to win it again this season. So just there's that on Alcorn State. Again, we'll go over them a little bit more on Monday, but we're going to talk a lot more. Just again, Monday after show reaction to what happened between Arkansas and Florida, and then Alcorn State. We all know the post games they're just reaction. It's real. It's everybody just reacting in real time, including me, and just doing a quick summary of what we witnessed and kind of going over some of the good and the bad, if there's any good. Let's hope there's good. All right, we have some really interesting games, man, in the SEC this week. I don't know how many of you gamble. There's some tough ones. There's some tough ones. You have Notre Dame at Clemson. I don't know what to expect there. Really don't. Kansas State at Texas. Ohio State at Rutgers. Mizzou at Georgia. That's probably, for a lot of people, that's the game of the week. Very fascinating game there. I hate to say it, and I know there's people that don't want me to say it, but we have to say it. Mizzou might very well be legit. Mizzou might very well be legit. However, I wouldn't take them over Georgia. That's right. I am Captain Obvious. I wouldn't take them over Georgia. It's going to be an interesting game for the two of them. Mizzou, and this is a conversation I'm having with a couple other people, I don't know that they have but one legit win all year. Like one win that's like, okay, that's pretty good, and that's Kansas State. They beat Kansas State, who at the time was 15th in the country, barely beat them, okay? Keep in mind, this game was in Columbia, Missouri, okay? This wasn't neutral side. It wasn't back in Kansas State territory. This was in Missouri. Missouri wins that game 30-27. I watched pieces of it, caught highlights. I mean, I thought Missouri looked pretty good. They did beat Memphis. Memphis is not a walk in the park. I don't know that I would take Arkansas to beat Memphis right now. I think they're 6-2 right now. 3-1 in conference play. They have wins over Boise State. Well, I guess that's really it. They lost a close game to Tulane, and we all know Tulane, not a bad football team. I don't know that I'd take Arkansas over them either. So they do have Kansas State. Mizzou does. And they did beat Memphis. 3-1 in SEC play. But their only tough game, in my opinion, well, one of two anyways, a LSU team who I've said all along is not an elite football team. They're not. I think even if there was a 12-team playoff this year, they would probably get in, depending on the college football playoff rankings. They'd get in because, of course, they would. They're a top 4 SEC ball club. But I'm not so sure they would go very far. To me, Mizzou is just they're right outside the top 10. Just not their defense just holds them back. They've had a couple decent moments. But they lose this game 49-39. If I remember right, this was a game Mizzou controlled for a little while, and Mizzou found their way back in the fourth quarter. They beat Kentucky. Okay, again, you got to do the eye test thing, and you got to look, who the hell have they beaten? They're currently riding a 3-game losing streak. They beat Florida at home, 33-14. And then they go on a 3-game losing streak. They've lost to Georgia, Missouri, and Tennessee. Other than Florida, who have they beaten that's any good? And by the way, Florida on the road's not a good football team. It's not. I honestly, even with the Kenny Guyton being the OC, I think I'd feel a hell of a lot better about Arkansas's odds playing Florida at home this year than probably even, obviously, more than most, right? They're not good on the road. And that's Kentucky's only good win on the year. Other than that, they beat Vanderbilt 45-28, Akron, Eastern Kentucky, and Ball State. They're 1-2 versus ranked opponents, and look where Florida's at right now. They're looking at probably 8-4. Not a bad team, right? But again, on the road, they're kind of cheeks. Maybe 7-5 actually. I don't know. We'll see. So Kentucky, now they get Mississippi State on the road, and they should take care of business there. But then after that, they got Bama. They should beat South Carolina on the road, but we know those games can be interesting. And then they finish the season out at Louisville. Wouldn't that be something if Kentucky beat Louisville? Anything could happen in that game. So yeah, I'm not buying Mizzou as like a top 10. I don't think they're in some ways they remind me. I think they're fraudulent, but like they're still a pretty good fraudulent football team. They're not, I don't know if fraudulent's right because they're not even ranked in the top 8. So I don't even know if fraudulent's the right way to put it. I think they're a good team. I think they're a good quality team. I just don't think they've played anybody, and I think their only real good win on the year, or at least decent win, was Kansas State. Kansas State found their way back into the rankings. Now they got to go to Georgia. Then they got to finish the year out at Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, and then at Arkansas. I think they probably split the last 4 games. So, saying all that to say, that's the East overall this year, odd year for the East. But saying all that to say that Florida's been all over the place, and at home they're tough. At Gainesville, no one scored more than 16 points in Gainesville. Remember, Florida and Georgia's played in Jacksonville. They're coming off a pretty tough physical game against the Bulldogs, losing by 23, 43-20. I have, again, caught highlights, watched what I can here and there. I am very impressed with Graham Mertz. He looks like, and they don't take a lot of deep shots as far as I could tell, but Graham Mertz can nickel and dime you all day long. He's a prototypical. He looks sluggish, but he can be athletic, right? He looks sluggish, but he can move out of the pocket a little bit. Ricky Purcell, their wide receiver, that dude is slick. 50 grabs, 718 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's averaging right at about 14 yards per reception. Kind of someone who can line up just about anywhere. They've also got Eugene Wilson, who I think a lot of the expectations this year were for him to be the guy. Talking to a friend of mine that's a Gator fan, he's not shocked about Ricky's emergence, but they kind of thought Eugene Wilson would be a little bit higher up. And then Arliss Boardingham, the tight end, has 4 touchdowns on the year with 19 grabs. Their running backs seem to me to be like underutilized. Montrell Johnson, this cat averages almost like all their backs average close to 6 yards a carry. Between Montrell Johnson, Trevor, I never know how to pronounce this last name. It's not 18. It's like Eatine or some weird, I don't know. I apologize, but Trevor Etienne or something. I think that's how you're supposed to pronounce it. He's averaging right at 6 yards a carry. Trayon Webb averaging about 6.3, and I think one of those guys has been dealing with some injuries, so I don't know if we see all 3 backs tomorrow or not. They're pretty loaded in the backfield, and I would argue right now if all 3 of these guys are good to go, this will be the best 1-2-3 punch that Arkansas has faced this year. And if they actually utilize these cats and if someone catches fire, Arkansas could be in real trouble. But the run defense has been mostly pretty solid this year, the Hogs. That depth up front has been pretty spectacular, actually. What a turnaround for the defense. Just can't get it figured out on offense, and that's what sucks about the whole thing. Let's put an end to this poll here really quick. We are at 20% at the LOL no. I thought that would be higher. 58% of you think Arkansas is going to get past 300 yards. 20% of you say no. So the LOL no and the no are tied. ETN. Okay, thank you, Tony. Appreciate it. ETN. See, there's another one in the NFL, and I swear they pronounced it 18. I do believe nobody on the offense had respect for Enos. Some of these targeting calls are a bunch of crap, too. Okay. I was kind of looking around at what Florida does good. I thought, well, maybe they're pretty good at getting in the backfield. Maybe they're pretty good at creating some problems. Again, I haven't watched a ton of Florida this year and was a little bit surprised. They're I had it pulled up here. They're actually, surprisingly, with how good their DNs are not big threats when it comes to like a pass rush. I think they actually rank behind Florida in team sacks. Or I'm sorry, LSU. Yeah, they're bad. They're bad at getting after the quarterback. They average right now at about a sack a game. They rank 15, 16, about 117th in the country at getting after the quarterback. I think their TFLs, team TFLs, are obviously better than that, but not much better. And what little I have seen them play, again, it's like they play good team defense at home. Now listen, against this Arkansas offensive line, I mean, who are we kidding? Who are we kidding? I mean, come on. Arkansas's offensive line has been horrible. Horrible this year. But I do have people trying to convince me, and they might be onto something, that it's just simply Dan Enos. The offensive line, Sam Pittman kind of talked about, well, he was asked about it, about the communication issue up front and about Dan Enos and just how all that was going on, and Sam didn't want to talk about it. He didn't want to answer the question. He talked about moving the pocket. You guys remember that? We're going to move the pocket. We're going to move the pocket, man. We're going to do it. We're practicing it. We're practicing moving the pocket. Didn't really happen. And then when it did, to be fair, KJ did throw the ball a little short, but he had a little bit more time to throw the ball. So I think it's pretty clear there was something going on either between Enos and Sam, or maybe there's something going on between Sam and Kennedy, offensive line coach, or Kennedy and Enos. Nobody was on the same page. There's communication amongst themselves or lack of communication. They better get their shit together because Princely, another name. Princely, someone help me out in chat. Human Minimalin. I can't pronounce this dude's last name. I've even heard it pronounced a couple times. I'm still dropping the ball. He grades out, according to PFF, as an edge rusher. He grades out as a pass rusher, not overall. Don't look at his defense, but if you have PFF, look at his pass rush grade. They grade him out at almost 91. He has 22 hurries on the year, just 3 sacks. But he's pretty good, and it's something that does from time to time stand out if you watch Florida's defense this year. He could eat. This could be that game where, kind of like what we saw with Jackson in Alabama, where he just completely eats who's ever in front of him. But yeah, they're not a team. Florida's not a team where anyone is backed up by a lot of numbers as far as sacks are concerned. Again, 3 sacks, 9 hits, 22 hurries. I think Jackson's at 13 hurries on the year, but he's actually got the production to back it up. He's actually got the sacks, right? He's at 5 sacks on the year, but it's not like he's got a huge advantage over Princely. This dude's good. I think he's really good as far as the pass rush players concerned. That might be. I mean, Sam talked about it. That both their edge rushers, both these guys can work the edge pretty well. Maybe they try to work around it and scheme them out. I've talked to Stephen Hamner, friend of the show, QB Spotlight. I've talked to him about this before. You can absolutely scheme around these things. You can actually game plan around the strengths of a defense. You've got to have the right guys on the field. You've got to have execution. You got to have a great game plan. It's all got to come together, and it can work. Something we have not seen much of on offense for Arkansas. If you're even a halfway decent defensive lineman, I mean, you're going to have a career day against this Arkansas offensive line. We're going to find out tomorrow, man. We're going to find out a lot, and that's what makes it, to me, interesting. I don't expect Arkansas to win. I'll just tell you right now, Arizona Tim wanted my prediction earlier. I'll tell you right now, I'm not buying the 3 points for Florida. I think Florida probably wins this thing pretty easily. I think what's happening at Arkansas is a complete shit show. I think it's a complete shit show. Now, the good news is you don't have Chad Morris at the helm trying to scrape together the rest of the season. You have Sam Pittman. Yes, he's inexperienced as a head coach, but he's got 3 decades of coaching at big schools, right? Some small, but some big. He's been around it. He's been a part of some teams that have struggled and had to kind of refine themselves. He's never been a part of a team that had to fire their coordinator halfway through the season, as he stated last week. This is something he's never had to deal with as a head coach. So I don't know that they win another game. If I'm being real, I just don't. I'm not in the Kenny Guyton's the answer to all of our prayers. I'm not in that camp, and that's nothing against KG. It's just he's young. He's never called a play at this level. and you're about to go down to the swamp. They might. I think they have a shot against FIU. We'll see about Auburn, but Auburn took care of business against Mississippi State. Auburn has actually at times looked like they got a pretty decent product on the field at times. Not consistently. Auburn fans, you talk to any of them, they're not real thrilled with what they're seeing out of year one from Freeze, but I think they're in a little bit better situation than Arkansas is, and they have more excuses that are viable. Arkansas doesn't, man. This is year 4. And you screwed around. You went and got a guy that made no damn sense now looking back on it, if we can be Captain Hindsight for just a second. It's easy for us to do, I know. But here's the thing. Sam has worked with Enos before. When he hired him, he said, I thought he was a good hire. He's a good hire. I like him. He's a hell of an offensive coordinator. Those were his words, not verbatim. But along those lines, he was a good coordinator. How was it an overconfidence in KJ Jefferson and your roster? Is it maybe Enos just – I don't know. Maybe Enos didn't feel like he had to earn it. Maybe they felt like they could kind of glide through the season. They'll be fine. They'll still win 7-8 games, and Hog fans will be all right with it, I guess, I don't know. I don't know, but – we've seen a lot of rookie moves out of Sam this year, whether it's clock management, the use of timeouts, going back to the hiring of Enos. I think right now it just looks silly. It never worked. How do you miss that as a head coach? I mean, I don't know. We're all human. I get it. I don't want to be too hard on the guy, but this is such a massive swing and miss, and it's cost you. I mean, it may have cost him his job. We said in the offseason, he had to make a lot of hires in one offseason. Here's what's crazy. On the defense, he killed it. I mean, those guys, they are so much further ahead than Barry Odom could ever hope to do here at Arkansas. I don't care about what he's doing as a head coach at UNLV. I don't give a shit about that. He had a job to do here, and I don't think he did a very good job of it. I don't think he did a very good job as a defense coordinator. He had some premium talent. I mean, he had Jalen Cattle on here. Now, that wasn't all on him. Cattle couldn't stay healthy. But he never put a defense together anything close like what we've seen Travis Williams and the boys do this year. And I hate it for those guys. I hate it that Fountain, first time ever in his time here, I'm actually praising him. Week in and week out. I think I've only had one game this year where I was like, golly, man, what are they doing? What are special teams doing? Sam just had to make too many big decisions in the offseason. He's too green as a head coach to make those decisions. I think he probably wins 3-9 or ends up 3-9. I think it's a shit show. I don't know. Maybe it's Hog PTSD. I don't know. We've kind of been here before, and we thought with Chad, year one, well, they'll figure it out at the end of the year. They'll do it. They'll put together at least a halfway better product as the year goes on, right? Look at the schedule. Look at the schedule. Look at it. Look at the schedule. I think it's the same thing. Now, again, thankfully you have Sam and not Chad. I think they can. I think their move here to fire Enos was the right one. I mean, obviously. And they're going to take a more grounded approach. We're not going to people who thought, well, now we're going to get the veer and shoot. Now we're going to get Kendall Brow's offense. No, man, they're going to keep this offense. It's going to look similar because you're going to go with a faster tempo, and you're going to use as much misdirection, as much RPO, and maybe actually moving the pocket a little bit more. You're going to see more of that, and maybe Kenny Guyton can press the right buttons. Maybe he's got it in his head that he knows how to work. He's a former quarterback himself. Played at a big time level, even though he didn't start at Ohio State. He has a highlight reel. Not that means anything, but I don't know, man. I haven't liked what I've seen, what I've watched. Maybe it is all on scheming. Maybe it does all go back, and Enos was 99.9% of the problem. And that's why guys were giving up. But, I saw this at the beginning of the year. There were major red flags against some pretty weak opponents. Not that you've had many this year, but there were some major red flags. And I don't know that Enos gets 99.9% of the blame. I think players, and I've stated this isn't anything new for anybody who's been here and who's watched these lives and has watched me talk about or listened to me talk about this. I hope I'm wrong, man, and tomorrow he could absolutely prove me wrong. The rest of the season, Sam is coaching for that ass. Now, here's the thing. If he wins against Florida, he's coming back. I mean, I think it's that simple. You go on the road, you do something, first off, you've never done before in school history, going down to Gainesville and getting a win. He's probably saved his job. Because at that point, then you would expect them, right, to beat at least FIU and then probably Auburn, even though Hugh Freeze beat Sam last year with a team that didn't have half the talent that Auburn has. But, right, I mean, that's the expectation, is if you can beat Florida on the road and take care of business against another Florida school, and you ought to take care of business against Auburn. But even if he doesn't, at 3-9, but you got to win at Florida, that's a pretty decent win. In Gainesville, it's a pretty decent win. I'm not saying he should. I'm not saying I condone keeping him if that's his only win the rest of the year. I'm saying I could see Hunter doing that. Part of it because of their recruiting. Part of it because Sam has proven that he can go into the portal and get some difference maker, or at least some high-quality playmakers. You know, difference makers are guys like Darren McFadden, right? Tim Tebow. Those are difference makers. But he's gotten some high-quality playmakers out of the portal. So we'll have to wait and see. Tomorrow's going to be very interesting. If I'm wrong, I'm not shaving anything off, okay? I'm not shaving my beard. I don't know. Maybe I'll get hammered and do a Discord, do a tipsy tie in Discord for those of you that are there. I don't know. But I don't see it happening. I think Florida – I think it'll be a ball game for a little bit. I do, simply because of Arkansas special teams and defense. They'll keep Arkansas in it, but I think eventually Florida just pulls away and wins probably by 10, 13 points. It's just a giant shit show. When you're having to fire your coordinator with 4 games left to go in the year, that's not a great sign, obviously. But I will say, and I ended last week this way too, they will be excited to play for Kenny Guyton. So don't ever count that part of it out. When you've got players that are bought in, and again, Stephen Hamner mentioned this, boy, that could change a lot of things when your guys are bought in. That could create a little bit of enthusiasm, a little bit more excitement, a little courage, and all of a sudden it's like, who cares that we're in Gainesville? Florida ain't too big. I don't know. I don't live in never ever land, right? I don't think anything's impossible. But I would say I would probably put Arkansas's chances at victory here probably maybe 25, 30%. That's pretty high when you think about it. That's pretty high, all things considered. So, yeah, again, I do think Florida probably takes this thing and they probably win, eventually. If Arkansas wins, Ty should go full Amish with the beard. No, I always trim it. The entire offense will pop. They'll all play better from the line to the receiver, says Beer Talk. Man, I hope so. I mean, I again, we've not seen that all year. It would be something else. And here's the other thing too that's going to work against Florida. I don't know. Like, you're gonna what are you gonna really prepare for? Sam says they're gonna utilize what's worked best for them this year. I mean, what's worked best? KJ running the damn ball. I mean, let's be real. When he's able to actually take off and run, that's what's worked best. I don't know. Unfortunately, if they don't win out, Sam won't be back. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, if he goes 2-10, he's gone. There's no way. We may need to pass from the punt formation just to avoid a sack. Oh man, I know. I know someone's gonna come through and be like, "Ty, you're being pessimistic." I listen. If I get an opportunity to be positive, man, I like to live in camp positivity. I'll get behind them, and I'm. in terms of like where I'm at and what I think they can do. If I think they can do it, and if they've shown that to me before, that's just the problem. They haven't shown that at all this year, and I don't know how old is Kenny Guyton again. 30? Was he 32? There's some young offensive coordinators. There's some young head coaches. McVay took over the Rams when he was just a little bit older than 32. So I mean, and he won a Super Bowl a few years later. Took the Rams to 2 Super Bowls in a short period of time. So I'm not knocking his age, right? But never called a play. Never. Just kind of, I don't know. If they win, I'm shaving my back hair. Ew. If you want Arkansas to win, hit the like for Ty. It's free and it helps the channel. There you go. There you go, man. Yeah, I appreciate the support. I'm ready for anything to happen tomorrow. I mean, that's part of the reason why I want to stream, or why I want to do a live watch party with you guys tomorrow, just because I'm so damn curious about what we're going to see. I think it's going to be rough eventually, either from the start or somewhere towards the finish, right? TMI. Yo, time late. We smoking that gator. Man, you guys are a lot more hopeful for this game, or a lot more positive about this than I thought you would be. I'm going to be real. Leslie says Arkansas will shock the football gods tomorrow. The gods! We're going to shock them. I mean, you know what, too? I wish Arkansas played basketball tomorrow. Like, wouldn't that be great? Like, tomorrow night, you get Arkansas football tomorrow. Okay, whatever happens, happens. And then you turn around and you have basketball. Oh, that'd be great. It's crazy. When I do get a DM these days, it's basketball content now. People are asking me, hey, are you gonna do more Arkansas basketball? Y'all are psyched for basketball. What all do you think a win would change? Well, Sam would probably keep his job no matter what. Well, I say no matter what. I feel like no matter what, he would keep his job if he goes down to Gainesville and he finds a way to win that game. I do. A lot of questions about what do they do for an OC in the offseason, right? Like, what do they do for a coordinator? And we don't know the answer to that, or we won't know, obviously, until the season's over with, as far as, like, what they do with Kenny Guyton. If Kenny – and here's the thing. What they're going to run this year, I don't know if Kenny Guyton has a playbook, right? I don't know if there's a certain type of offense he wants to run, but he ain't going to get to run it. They're running a much more narrowed down version of the playbook that Dan Eno's had. Oh, did it pop up? We got a super chat. Did it happen? Did it pop on the screen? Did anybody see it? The super chat thing? I don't see it. Son of a... We were trying to roll with the changes. There you go. I don't think it popped up on the screen, guys. What's up, Thomas Nunley? How you doing? Well, some of y'all said it did. One of y'all says nope. Daniel Geisler says no. I'm gonna have to go back and watch. Hang on. How do you create a highlight? I can go back and watch. You're supposed to be able to. It's not letting me play it. Damn. It did pop up. So you guys are saying it did. Man, it was up quick. Was it up like, did it say super chat, or was it just like a little emblem, like a little graphic? I'm going to have to go back and watch. What are we at, the 59-minute mark? Plus win the bowl. Oh, wait a minute. What's up, Kate? What are you talking about here? Oh, so super chat popped up on the screen. It must have popped up and disappeared quick. Kate, yeah, well, they would have to win out to make a bowl game. You can win 5 and get invited to a bowl. You can win 5 and get invited, but you have to have a certain, I think it's like a average GPA at a certain level. And you'd be crazy not to go. I mean, obviously at that point, let's say they are with a 5-win team, you'd be crazy not to take the bowl game. I mean, I'll probably say something. I'll probably talk that shit. Like, it's a participation trophy. Let's be real. But you would be crazy not to go because it's more opportunities to practice. It's more opportunities to keep some guys happy, to play some freshmen. Yeah, no, you absolutely go. Absolutely. The graphic popped up on a delay, about 10 seconds. What the hell? Well, I don't have any power over the delay. That's just the way it works, but that's cool. Yeah, I know on Twitch that's what happens when you put in sometimes when you put in a donation or whatever, it takes it 5 or 6 seconds. Changes need to be made. I hope we will see Criswell some. They might put a package in for him. I don't know, especially if we were going 3 and out. He needs the experience. Keep in mind there are players especially if you lose tomorrow, you're gonna see more and more freshmen. You're gonna see more and more freshmen play. Malachi Singleton might see the field, said Pittman. Yeah, special teams. Did you see that? He talked about him playing special teams. Like what? Special teams? Really? What are you gonna do with him there? Is he gonna hold the ball? If Pittman is back next year, do you think KJ comes back? No way he gets drafted. I could see him transferring. Again, this is why Kenny Guyton has to work. I don't know how else to put it. Kenny Guyton has to work because if he can instill some confidence in KJ and all of a sudden he's back to his old self, and you're probably going to be playing – maybe you're playing around a group of guys that maybe get a bunch of them back. I don't know. I mean, the question is, what does Rocket do? That's the question nobody's asking. Like, what's Rocket Sanders do, But you're more than – I shouldn't even say more than likely because we don't know what's going to happen in the transfer portal. I know he's tight with Sam, and I think he's going to develop some kind of a relationship with Kenny, assuming things go well. Assuming the offense is clicking the way that it should, Sam needs Kenny Guyton to be we got to see it. Now, again, the question is, and I'm sure Sam will get asked this, assuming he's good enough to keep his job, right? Assuming Kenny Guyton, you see a better product on the field, on the offensive side of the ball. Then the next question for Kenny or for Sam Pittman is what are you doing with the playbook? Like, is Kenny Guyton going to come up with his own system? Is it veer and shoot because he worked with Kendall Briles? Do you think there's going to be some kind of communication between KB and KG? And then what are the odds you can keep some of these guys on the offensive side of the ball? What does this look like for the rest of your staff on the offensive side of the ball? But we got to cross that bridge when we get to it. First, the thing that has to happen is the opposite of what I believe is going to happen, which I believe it's going to be a shit show. And I'm not putting that on Kenny Guyton. I'm putting it on Sam Pittman. I mean 110%. I'm putting it on Sam. He made the wrong hire. He made the wrong hire in bringing Enos in. I'm not saying we ought to throw tomatoes at him. I'm not saying you ought to go hating on him is he back on Twitter, by the way? Do we know? I'm not saying you got to go DM him wherever. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to be too hard on him, but at the same time, if this were any other head coach, I'd be saying the same damn thing. At the end of the day, you got a job to do, and you swung and missed so hard with hiring Dan Enos, it falls back on you. And you're paying the price for it. The fans are paying the price for it. Your players are paying the price for it. It just is what it is. And I think that's sending probably mixed signals to players that are going to enter the portal. I'm talking about other teams, other players. And high school recruits, it's going to send some mixed signals. Like, does this guy know who's best for me? Does he know who to hire? Who's best for me? I mean, has Kenny Guyton, and I'm not trying to hate on him either, but has he really been like a great wide receiver coach? I'm not saying he's been bad, but is he someone who is like would make other teams shortlist? You know, I'm talking like maybe Oregon, I don't know, Penn State, Alabama. Like, would they hire him as a wide receiver coach? I haven't been blown away, and again, I think some of that's probably on the type of offenses that his receivers have had to operate within. So I don't know that it's on him. But I think that these are questions that are going to be tossed at these recruits. Look, man, Sam, what did he do with hiring Kenny Guyton? I mean, right now the word on the street is his wideouts aren't getting open. They're not creating separation. They can't run simple routes. Their timing is off. And then you have the situation with what's going on with Dan Enos and KJ Jefferson and the rest of the offense. I'm just telling you, while negative recruiting I think is against the rules, or it's at least an unwritten rule, I guarantee you it's happening. Those parents who believe their son is good enough to play in the NFL, when they got money on the line, they're being told this stuff. And I think that's another reason why it's another feather in the cap for those who want Sam gone. It's like, see what we're talking about, Ty? He's made some bad hires, and Enos is one of them. I don't know that any of his good old boy hires have worked. I mean, it took Fountain 4 years to figure it out. Barry Odom was again, I don't know that I can be hard enough on Barry Odom, especially with what we're seeing from the defense this year. Dan Enos didn't work out. You know, what do we make of Kennedy? Kennedy was his boy. What has Kennedy done as an offensive line coach? We're not churning out NFL talent, and his offensive line is taking a lot of heat. We're going to find out tomorrow whether or not that was because of Dan Enos or the offensive line is just that bad. Like they've regressed really bad, or it's just a victim of circumstance based on the offense that they're operating within. Not very many of his good old boy hires have worked out. So all I'm saying is these are things I hope Hunter Yurchek weighs, when the dust settles. Again, what he did as far as hiring guys on the defense, I think he killed it. I think he did about as good of a job as you could possibly do on the defensive side of the ball in making those kinds of fixes, especially when you consider who they've played so far this year. Dude, they've played like all the best offenses in the SEC outside of Georgia. Look how good they've been. They've gone toe-to-toe, and it's because of the defense. It's because 4 years later, Fountain finally figuring it out on defense or on special teams. But still, like he didn't fire Fountain. You guys know 2 years ago I would have fired his ass. I was saying I'm over it, man. I'm over it. And now they're like killing it. That 5-hour energy drink starting to kick in. I took a swig. I took a 5-hour like right before I went live the first time. It's kicking in. It's not drugs. I'm too fat to do drugs. And I've got kids. And I'm a family man, okay? I might have a glass of whiskey with a cigar though. Yeah, so he's made some good, but his good old boy hires haven't worked out. And I pray to God if he does keep his job that he's not waiting around for another good old boy, another friend. That's what worries me. Can't do shit if you can't block. There you go. Dizzle McTwizzle, what's up, man? Haven't seen you in here in a while. This is a great opportunity for a coach to step up in his career. Guyton has seen the problems in the negative attitude. Oh, hang on. In the negative attitude firsthand. We get to see what kind of fire he lit. Woo pig. Man, I hope you guys are right. I really do, man. I hope you guys are right. Did we get the graphic? Did it pop up? I didn't look. You guys got to tell me if the graphic popped up. We got a super chat. What if KJ isn't performing / motivated with a simplified playbook? Does Coach Sam Pittman finally make a game decision to win a close one? Rest KJ and let him watch what Gators are doing for a series or two. Kelly, I feel like this is a roundabout way of you asking, do we see Criswell? Is that what that is? I screenshotted it and tagged you on Discord. Oh, thanks, Mike. I'll look at that. Hang on. It's so quick. I don't even see it. Hang on, let me scroll down. Okay, there it is. Cool. All right, very cool. It's the super chat graphic. Awesome. Yeah, Kelly, I feel like that's a roundabout way. You're trying to get me to say whether or not Criswell. Listen, they might put something in the playbook for him. I doubt it. If there wasn't already a some kind of set play where Criswell comes in before, I never saw him practice. Like, I don't know that I ever saw Criswell. I'm trying to think. I don't know that I ever saw him ever run with the ones or do any kind of trick stuff, maybe Wildcat. I never saw anything like that. I doubt it. Now, if you're saying if they just let him, like, if you're asking me if the question is, things are going so bad that they're just going to let KJ sit for a couple of series, maybe get his mind right, Kenny Guyton's going to be up in the box, so it's not like Kenny Guyton's going to be on the sidelines trying to straighten things out with KJ. So maybe he's got the headset on or whatever, making the phone call, however they do it now. I think they have headsets. They all have headsets or something. And maybe he talks with – maybe. I mean, anything's possible. I don't see Sam doing that. I don't see Sam being like, you know what, we're just for the sake of him – well, I don't know. Maybe he does. I don't know, man. I feel like they've hit the reset button and anything goes. God only knows what they're going to do tomorrow. Again, that's why I want to stream, why I want to do a watch party with everybody. I may just do it in Discord. I may do it on YouTube. I may do a Patreon thing. I don't know, but I really want to watch this game and all of us react to it in real time together. Appreciate that, Mike. Thanks for the tag, man. I saw it. Thank you. That's awesome that it's working. One thing is working tonight. Look for Criswell and Singleton at FIU. Yeah, they're going to play freshmen. I know they're going to play freshmen, talking about Singleton there. They will play freshmen. I don't know if they'll play Singleton necessarily. Maybe they will. Yep, that is why he may not be coaching in the future. Are you saying because he won't play Criswell? Yeah, I don't know. Wouldn't it be something if Criswell somehow gets onto the field? I don't want to speculate. I don't want to say one thing or another. I don't want to jinx anything, but somehow makes it out onto the field, and then he turns the offense around, and they're moving the ball up and down the field. A better product is definitely present, and Criswell's the quarterback. Sam's going to catch a lot of heat, because then the question is, why the shit didn't you do this sooner? Just like with firing Enos or hiring him to begin with. A lot of I'm not saying that's going to happen. I've been in the camp of I don't think it matters who you've had back there, because the offensive line, what good does it do making a quarterback, any kind of change on offense, whether that's who's running the ball or who's throwing the ball, if you don't have an offensive line to protect and help plays develop. And that's where there's a side of the fan base who believes, well, but that's a scheming thing. That's a not having the proper game plan in each week and week out on one side, and then the other side saying, no, they just don't have any talent on the offensive line, so it doesn't matter. It's complicated, but you know what? That's what we're here to do, talk about the complications of it all. Because he won't make a small adjustment. I would say starting a different quarterback, Kelly, or playing a different quarterback's a little bit bigger than a small adjustment. That's a big adjustment. We're playing in the swamp, just waiting for phantom personal foul. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. Oh, man. That play is what started the SEC hates Arkansas, the refs, they're all in on it. That's where it all began. Never say bench KJ. Okay, then Kelly, what are you talking about? You say a small adjustment. What small adjustment? Did I miss something? I'm sorry if I missed something. But the only thing you said in that super chat was let KJ rest for a couple of series. So yeah, I mean, if you're talking about putting Criswell in a live game, subbing out Criswell for KJ, even for just a series or two, that's a pretty big adjustment. I think KJ straight up hated working with Enos. I agree with that. He consistently looked pissed on the sideline. He has the same facial expression, man. KJ had no opportunity to succeed with this offensive line. Yeah. I don't know what to believe, guys. I don't know. I want Arkansas tomorrow. I want them to make me question everything tomorrow. That's what I want. I want, because in other words, the offense just completely turn a 180. You know, like that's what I want to see tomorrow. Like, not just right the ship, but completely turn it around and head the right direction, the opposite direction where they were headed. That's what I want to see. And make me question everything about this game that we know as football. Because I don't know. Coaches make changes, embrace next man up, especially when they're – yeah, so again, Kelly, that's a major adjustment. I mean, you're talking about – I mean, I hear you. I'm not saying I disagree. I'm not saying I disagree at all, Kelly. I'm not. Maybe they should have benched KJ. I'm only saying that what I've been saying all along is I just don't know that it matters. So what? Sweat tarts? KJ needs to switch to sweet tarts. If you have a philosophy style of blocking for 2 to 3 years, and it's a huge adjustment, that takes more than a year. The problem with that, though, is Dizzle McTwizzle, is that you see teams do it all the time. You see teams switch philosophies all the time. You know, you know what I mean? Like, they'll have the same philosophy for 2 or 3 years, and they'll swap out a coordinator for a different scheme. I mean, I just don't know if that excuse holds up, especially when the guy that's your head coach is a former offensive line coach who was considered a guru of recruiting and coaching offensive linemen. So I don't know that excuse holds much water. You know what I mean? I don't know that it does. How far they sank this year, it's just mind-boggling. I get some bumps and you know, a few hiccups here and there. I get that, but man, they completely shit the bed so much you can't even throw the sheets in the washing machine. You have to just burn them. Like, to hell with this. I'm not dealing with it. You ever had one of those when one of your kids shit the bed so bad? You're like, oh golly, man, what do I do with this? Screw it. Throw it in the fire pit. I ain't washing that. That's what happened with the offensive line this year. It was so bad. Shit the bed so bad that it's going to be stained. It's going to forever smell bad no matter how much bleach you throw in the machine. It doesn't matter, man. Throw it in the fire. Throw it in the fire pit. It's awful. We got some dads. We got some parents in chat. I know we do. Hoping the effort on offense wasn't there because they quit on Enos. I know things are bad. I don't know what to make of players that quit on coaches. I don't know what to make of that, you know. I don't know. I mean, I get it. But I would still want my guy, like, at the end of the day, you're not just quitting on Enos. You're quitting on your whole team. You're quitting on your head coach. You're quitting on behalf of the school. You're quitting on behalf of the fans. I don't know that quitting for a head coach that you dislike is ever an answer. I had some coaches I freaking hated. But you know what? I knew my guys next to me needed me. I knew, you know, my family, if they watched me play and whatever, like, I knew other people counted on me. I wasn't going to quit playing. I don't know. I mean, doesn't Bray Cook do a podcast or something? Go ask Bray Cook. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It does. We hear about it all the time. I don't know. I certainly hope that's not what was happening, because then you got to question like what Sam was doing to keep them somewhat motivated. Because here's the thing, you got a defense busting their ass. You got a defense busting their ass to put you in a position to go make plays, and you're quitting because you don't like the offensive coordinator. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know, guys. That to me now, we're not even in the landscape of college football. We're just talking about a certain mentality. I don't like what I see here, and I'm just going to quit. I don't know. I've had bad bosses that I was I guess now motivation's different. Now that's different. That's something that's kind of hard to control. If you're not motivated, you're not. I think that could be what's going on. That could have been absolutely something that's going on. But purposefully not playing because you don't like the guy calling the plays, nah, man. I don't know that I want you on the team. I'll be real. I don't care if that was KJ Jefferson. If KJ came out on a podcast a couple of years later, yeah, I quit playing because I didn't like Dan Enos. I'd be like, dude, you're a bum. I would. You're a bum. You let down the state, your teammates, those guys on defense busting their ass, the coaches that were rooting you on, the fans. No, I ain't about that. But I don't think that's what's happening. I think it's a motivation thing. I think it was a motivational issue. And that's something that's hard to control. Like, how do you you're either motivated or you're not, and that's on the bosses. That's on your boss to keep you motivated, right? Incentives, whatever, moving you around the system that you, whatever. I'm trying to use move you around in your role in the company, That's on the bosses to keep you motivated. That's on Sam Pittman. That is on Enos, 110%. But yeah, I'm not about quitting. I don't like that. Losing doesn't bother Sam like it does Coach Muss. It should. Now, that is an interesting take. I don't know that we know that for a fact, Bobby, but you make an interesting argument. And it's one that I don't have. I know he hates it. I'm not saying he doesn't hate it, but Musselman, maybe it speaks more to Musselman taking it personal when he loses. And he does a pretty good job in I think in post game when he talks to the media, but he talks about not sleeping at all after a loss. I mean, we saw what happened last year when he I mean, he loses his cool. He's more passionate than Sam is. I would agree. It's not to say Sam's not passionate at all. I love the turn that damn jukebox on stuff. I loved it. Who doesn't love that? Obviously coming after a win, that matters. Losing bothers Muss and us. It does. And I'm not saying it doesn't bother Sam. I think it does bother Coach Pittman. I do. But Muss takes it to a level you want to see your coach. You want to see that guy get just pissed off when he loses. I mean, I still get upset a little bit when I see players kind of laughing and everything after a loss, like watching the Rams play. It's always in the pros. You see it all the time. Yeah, I'm cashing my check, whatever. I hate that shit. I'm like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? You ought to be in that guy's face. I'm going to kick your ass. When we're at home next time, baby, I'm taking this personal. That's what I want my guys to do. Maybe be respectful and be a good sport about it. But you know what I mean? You want to see them take it a little bit harder than sometimes they do. As a kid, if you quit on your coach, to me, you are a bum. Yeah, I mean, it only takes one person missing the block to blow up a play. It only snowballed. Yeah. Hopefully we have a good victory chat with you tomorrow time. Leslie's like, I want a good chat tomorrow. I want positivity tomorrow. Listen again. It is, I hate to say this, but it is just a game. I hate saying that, but it is. I try not to let it ruin my weekend. I'm not going to lie to you. I had some Cowboy fans tagging me left and right last weekend. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was pretty pissed, but also expected. Like the Rams they are the Razorbacks of the NFC West. They are garbage. But I still I don't like losing. I don't like losing. I hate losing. Especially the Cowboys. Nolan Richardson pissed. Are you saying he would get pissed, Patrick? Yeah. Yeah, Nolan, yeah, I mean, and he handled it a certain way too. All right, we got to close this thing up. We're coming up on an hour and a half. I really meant for this thing to only be about an hour, but, whatever. I'm glad we got a little bit longer show out of the way. I do appreciate you guys. Shout out to the sponsors, of course, Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company, and, of course, the Odd Soul Craft Bar and Pizzeria. I'm hoping for at least a good game tomorrow. I want to see Kenny Guyton prove me wrong. I want to see the offense live up to the defense's expectations that I think they hold themselves to. I would love to see that actually. I'd like to see just a good product on the field. I don't know. I don't expect it. I'm going to be real with you. I don't. I think this is probably going to be – there might be a couple of shining moments because Florida – I don't know how they exactly game planned for Arkansas this weekend when you got someone else calling the shots on the offense. But so maybe Arkansas will have a little bit of an upper hand, maybe in the beginning or somewhere in between. Florida's offense has picked things up a little bit. It's not like they look pretty decent against Georgia for a little while, and they've scored at least 38 points the 2 weeks before that, and they scored only 14 to Kentucky. But they did beat Tennessee earlier in the year in Gainesville in front of 90,000 people. So I expect I expect there to be a lot of fans. It's going to be loud, and let's just hope Kenny Guyton's got it in him. Okay, that's all we could say. So don't forget, put your predictions in. It took us till the end of the day to get just 10 predictions. I know everybody's just done with football. I get it. But if you still want to get in on the XP and Discord, go get your predictions in over there. Okay, guys? All right. I appreciate this. I appreciate those of you who donated or liked or shared, and the Patreon supporters. I'm hoping by Tuesday we get the report of the new names list of Patreon supporters. So Kelly says 33. Yeah, I saw your prediction earlier, Kelly. 33-11. Boy, if that happens, the hype begins all over again for Arkansas, doesn't it? I hope you're right, man. I hope those of you who are picking Arkansas, I hope to God I'm wrong tomorrow. I would love to see them turn this thing around. So, all right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your Friday night, and I'll see you. Wait. Before you leave, don't forget. I may be doing, if I can straighten some things out, I may be doing a watch party. It'll be just me for Arkansas and Florida, and then maybe also for Alcorn State on Monday. Again, I got to straighten some things out here. But if I can get it all to work, we'll do a watch party. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So, yeah, maybe I'll see you tomorrow a little bit before and during the game. But we know for a fact, for sure, I will be doing a post game no matter what. So, yeah. All right. I'll see you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.